crazy.
What is up, guys? Welcome back to the Technical Foul. You're here with one of your co-hosts, Jack Anderson. To my right, there's JP Pusilowski.
What's up, guys?
JP, you want to explain your trophy you got going on?
Oh,
real
yeah.
quick?
This is the NSTL, the National Skibbity Toilet League, to be exact, fantasy football trophy from Season 1, the inaugural season. I won it this season, 8-6. My team name was the Jim's Minions. MVP was Saquon Barkley. He carried me all year long. I came in as a 4 seed in the playoffs, defeated Donald Pumps was his team name. My best friend from high school. He had destroyed me twice and during the season already in the regular season, but I beat him, and then I won. And actually, very dramatic fashion. It came down to the last night, the last game of the season. I led by 3, and I was versing the other player in the championship, another friend of mine. I had Will Reichard, and he had Jake Bates. So I had the Minnesota Vikings kicker, and he had the Lions kicker. And of course, the Lions-Vikings game came down to the end there at the end, and I ended up beating him because the Vikings kicked a couple field goals that night, and I ended up beating him in the championship game. So
Yeah.
I earned this, rightfully so, and I will continue to put it on show until next season.
Yeah, you got it
Cool.
until you have to defend it. And then to my left, we have Sanders Oakley, who likes probably the worst brand of root beer.
That's crazy. It's because of the caffeine. No other root beer. I thought my introduction was going to be the guy that's been in the studio since 4 o'clock, and it is now 8 o'clock.
No, I decided I need to come up with it myself.
Oh, okay, cool.
But you have been here a minute because Rory decided to make things interesting down the stretch.
Very true.
So me and JP were at his apartment watching it. I don't understand how the caffeine factors into this at all.
I'm
but
sleepy.
Yeah, I feel like it should just be on taste.
It's 20 milligrams.
It tastes delicious. It's not 20.
It cannot be that many milligrams.
It's like 50. I swear.
Argument on taste delicious.
Yeah, that's.
Barks does taste delicious.
It's a root beer.
And I think
I
it's
wouldn't
more
say
than
it
20
tastes
milligrams.
I don't think any root beer really tastes delicious.
This is true.
All right.
So
Wait. No.
what?
You don't think any root beer tastes delicious?
I
We're
think,
not gonna-
well, Mug is the best root beer.
Agreed.
That's just
I wouldn't
not
say it
true.
tastes delicious. I just think it's like,
It's good.
damn, that's a good root beer.
Yeah, exactly. We are now demonetized on YouTube.
Good job, JP. We're
Damn.
definitely under 5 minutes.
But
Does that?
he is right.
Ain't
Damn,
no
it's a
way.
good root beer. Anyway,
way.
on the docket for the show tonight, we have our weekly MSU sports updates. We're gonna react to the Masters that was this past weekend. Shout out Rory for finally getting your green jacket. Great moments today. We're gonna talk about Nico Iamaleava.
So close.
Iamaleava.
Frederick. Anyway, we're gonna
We
react.
literally just listened to the recording of how to say it right.
Yeah, but that was
I
a
mean,
long time ago.
2.5 minutes ago, we listened to the.
Regardless, y'all know who I'm talking about. Tennessee's former Tennessee QB, who tried to get some more money out of the program and then bounced in the transfer portal. Kind of the first of college football holdouts, first of many to come, I'd
The big
imagine.
ones, yeah.
And then we'll talk about JP's Saints and the Derek Carr injury and what that means for his boys.
Who dat?
We're going to have a Mama Hen segment in there. Y'all figure out what that means in a little bit. And then finally, a first look at the NBA playoffs. We'll be doing a full breakdown of the NBA playoffs in the Wednesday show, but seeding and stuff got finalized late this afternoon. Just not enough time to, do research on it and get it in today's show. So that'll be out Thursday morning for y'all. But with that being said, JP, you want to kick us off with some MSU sports?
Absolutely. State baseball got another series win out in Tuscaloosa this weekend. We run-ruled the Tide on Friday, lost on Saturday, and then won again today against Alabama. The Dogs are 22-14 this season, now up to 5-10 in conference play. And Florida, who's I believe either second to last or last in the SEC, comes to town next weekend. So another big series, another chance to win another series and continue some momentum for Chris Lamonis and the Bulldogs.
He looks to save his job.
Yeah, absolutely.
Yeah, it was a big weekend. Hunter Hines continues to climb up the leaderboards for MSU career home run total. He's at 62, I believe, and the lead is
64.
60. I thought it was higher. I think he's like
Was it?
5 or 7 off. I
May
believe.
had it wrong.
Could
I
be
could be wrong.
68 maybe.
Maybe 67.
I thought it was like 67.
It's in the 60s. I know for a
Yeah.
fact
He is very close. It's doable. He's been a 4-year starter now, I believe. I think he started his freshman year. He has to have.
Oh, yeah.
So he's a 4-year starter, climbing that A great week of pitching. Since SEC play started, Stone Simmons has been a very good pitcher for us in relief, so that's been awesome. Another good week from Carson Ligon, this is his third good weekend in a row now. So, yeah, baseball is kind of recovering from a very rough start to SEC play, which in part makes sense because we played 3 top 10 teams, I believe, to start SEC play, 2 of them on the road.
Sure.
So,
y'all want to hear what A&M's next 3 weekends look like?
Go ahead.
No, but I feel like we're going to anyway.
We play the top 3 teams in the country currently, 2 of them being away.
Good luck.
So I cannot wait for that, as we basically need to win every
Is one of them
series
Texas?
left. One of them is Texas.
That's tough.
And we go to Texas, I believe.
That's tough.
That's unfortunate.
Big sweep this weekend for us. We did hit 2 grand slams in the bottom of the ninth to walk off not the Sunday game because we played it Thursday, Friday, Saturday, but the Saturday game, the third game of the series. So that was fun.
Very cool. Against Kentucky?
No,
That was
we were
last
playing
weekend.
South Carolina. They're bad.
Kentucky was last weekend.
2 weekends ago. We played Tennessee at Tennessee last weekend.
Oh.
And
Y'all
actually
won it?
won the series.
Yeah.
So things are looking up potentially. Softball, JP?
Yes, the Dogs defeated the Tigers of the Missouri kind this weekend, 2-1. Dogs are 33-11 on the season, 9-6 in conference play, and a big series next weekend. Number 2 Oklahoma in Norman, the first time getting to play Oklahoma in the SEC. Oklahoma has been a powerhouse in softball for many years, so a big test for the Dogs to see if they're really among those elite teams, like they have proven multiple times this season that they are. Another chance this weekend. Any thoughts on that, boys?
I mean, it is a huge series.
Yeah.
It's going to be fun to watch.
Mississippi State softball, we are now our team this year is top 5 in MSU total home runs hit. So, if that makes sense, basically we've hit, I don't remember how many home runs, the 5th most in school history.
And there's a lot of the season left.
And there's a lot of season left to play.
Yeah.
So this team is one of the best teams we've seen with the pitchers we have and now the hitters we have. So very excited to play. The highlights, I mean, I don't know if y'all see them on Twitter, but some of the girls out there are making crazy catches. It's very, very fun to watch the team play as good as they are. It's fun to see an elite team.
Absolutely. The Dogs need that. Men's tennis is elite and has been elite this year. They were 11th in the country. I assume they're going to go up higher after beating the school up north this weekend. The Dogs are 20-4 in the season. They will wrap up their season next week in Tuscaloosa against Alabama, and then the SEC championship. But yeah, 11th in the country, dominant in SEC play, and they continue to rise. And
second in the SEC and losing only 1 senior.
Mm-hmm.
So a program that set itself up for success for the rest of the season, hosting hopefully a regional, and then also next season losing only 1 player, and I believe he is court 3 in doubles, so and then court 5 in singles. So if you're not a tennis person, basically the way tennis works is coming into the match, both coaches meet and they agree, like, all right, on our court 1, like, you basically put your best players, and court 2 is your second best players, so on down the line. And I think this guy plays court 5 in singles. So he's a really awesome dude, but tennis-wise, I think would be considered our 5th best player. So
Gotcha.
Definitely losing an important piece of the team. He's one of my friend's favorite players. He's part of his big 3, as he calls it. And he's a huge part of the team, but only guy we're losing to graduation this year.
So, I mean, just kind of should be able to continue the dominance the program's had past couple years.
Mm-hmm. Do you want me to introduce the next segment?
I was going to say, yeah, we're going to roll into our Mother Hen segment, or Mama Hen segment, which is the first time. And I'm going to kick it over to Sanders to...
Yeah, so... This is, I mean, we've been doing a sports podcast here. We're like 2 months in now, something like that, a month and a half.
Close, probably not quite that far, but yeah.
It's like a month and a half. And my mother has said for the last 3 years that she always wanted to do a sports podcast with me because she likes the way I approach sports, and she thinks that when I explain things to her and to other people, it makes it easier for them to understand. And when I started this podcast, I think I called her or texted her and said, before she even said anything, I was like, I'm still going to include you, because you've been such a part of, where I am today. And my love for sports and the Masters I wouldn't know about if it wasn't for her, like talking about Bubba Watson nonstop. And women's basketball I wouldn't know about if she hadn't taken me to 2 Final Fours and we had season tickets. So huge part of my sports memories and my love for sports. And so, yeah, we're going to we're going to include her today, hopefully include her going forward every once in a while. So, yeah, we're going to get her on the phone, actually. We just discovered this new technology, which is we can call people, and all 3 of us can talk to them and hear them on our headsets and microphones. So we're very excited for that. So, yeah, if you want to go ahead and call.
Yeah, I can go ahead and call her. I'd like to caveat, this is the first time we've done this on the show.
Correct. We've tested it once.
It may take a minute to get it rolling, and hopefully it goes smoothly. I'm just going to say that. I'm calling her now.
Oh, you can hear it. That's hype.
Yeah.
And she just doesn't answer.
That would be tough. We would just have to. The show must go on. She did answer though, so we are.
What's up, Mama?
Guys,
We are recording. We called her once before when we were not recording, but we are recording. We just finished introducing the segment. So yeah, I'll have to go ahead. So you want to go ahead and tell them what your question is for us?
my question was favorite sports movie.
Okay.
Favorite sports movie.
All right. Do you have one in mind you want to kick us off with before we roll into ours?
Well, I have one in mind, and it is, of course, everybody's favorite sports movie, and it's Hoosiers.
Okay.
A classic.
Why is Hoosiers your favorite?
Classic. I fell in love with Hoosiers the summer after my junior year in high school. Come on TV, and I recorded it on our VCR and watched it probably every day, all summer long. That was before the internet, so I had a map of Indiana, and I was trying to find where this place was. Like, I found Deer Lick and all the little places and schools they played. But it wasn't until I met somebody from Indiana that told me that it was actually in Milan, with the Miracle of Milan. But anyway, I spent a whole summer studying the state of Indiana, trying to find where this mythical place was, because I thought the movie was so amazing.
It is a very good movie. It's not my favorite sports movie, but it's probably my favorite basketball movie.
There's so many great quotes in the movie.
Absolutely.
Yeah, I mean, it's iconic in terms of sports movies. It belongs in that top tier. I think overall baseball has the best sports movies.
Oh,
That's kind of my take.
that is a hot
Well, I'll
take.
go ahead and give you my hot. I'm gonna go ahead and give you my hot take.
Okay. Yep,
Stand
give it.
Field of Dreams.
Well, I don't like.
I can't stand Field of Dreams.
So she went in with
I think it is so boring.
Yeah.
Yeah, I can get behind that. It's not anywhere near my top baseball movies.
I tried watching it once and fell asleep and could not finish it when I woke back up. So
It's
you
terrible.
came in.
It's so boring.
Yeah. I don't see the appeal. I get that it's a classic, I guess. But I mean, Hoosiers is so good. I have the song that plays when they play the championship game. I have that saved in my like songs on Spotify and listen to it occasionally. I also have
The score for Hoosiers was nominated for an Academy Award.
yeah,
I did not know that.
Rightfully so.
it was fantastic. I do have another. It's crazy. I have another song from a baseball movie also saved to my like songs.
Is it the Moneyball song?
Uh huh.
Yeah, I mean that's an icon. That song gives you chills every time.
It does.
When Chris Pratt hits the home run
It's so
and
good.
it kicks in. I can watch the movie all the time, and that moment will never not get me. That is not my favorite movie, though.
It's not.
It's not my favorite movie.
Do we want to roll into your favorite movie, Jack?
We can, yeah. For the Love of the Game is my favorite movie.
Mm,
I don't think
Have
I've
either of y'all
that
seen
one.
those?
Have you seen it, JP?
I have.
I don't think I've seen that.
Kevin Costner is the star of the
Yes.
movie. It's basically about this aging pitcher who's at the tail end of his career. He's been at the Detroit Tigers all along, has been phenomenal for him, but he's just kind of running out of gas. And so I believe they tell him that they're trading him at the end of the season. And he goes out there and dominates in his last start. And as it's going through with each inning, it kind of like takes a break between innings and goes back, and you kind of get his backstory as it goes along, and it introduces a love interest and kind of their walk through. And it's a blast.
And so the movie starts basically at the beginning of that game.
Yeah.
And then ends at the end of that game.
Mm-hmm.
But then, like, in between each inning, you're, like, getting...
Yeah, it basically starts you like way back when he's a little bit younger and he meets this girl.
Okay.
And then it walks through kind of their story and how they've like kind of, come closer together at times and gone further apart and whatnot. I would highly recommend watching it. It's probably not one of the. I mean, it is pretty well known. I mean, Kevin Costner is a huge actor.
Absolutely.
Yes.
You know, but in terms of other baseball movies, it's no Moneyball. In terms of
That's funny because
popularity,
Kevin Costner was Bull Durham as well, which is another baseball movie.
and that's another good baseball movie. Not as good as Love of the Game.
I have
in my
not
opinion.
seen that one either. Apparently, I haven't seen enough baseball movies.
Have you seen The Rookie?
Well, apparently your mother failed you.
Yeah.
That's what it sounds like.
Have you seen Major League?
I don't think so.
Oh God,
Oh,
You
yeah.
gotta see Major League.
that's another. That's what I'm
I've
saying.
seen The
that
Sandlot.
baseball movies, there's just so
With
many
Wild
of them that are all
Thing?
so good. You've seen
Wild
the
Thing.
You've seen The
You
Sandlot.
make my heart sing.
I've seen.
Charlie Sheen.
Mm-hmm.
Yeah, I've not
Yeah.
seen that. I've seen. Wait, I think I have seen The Rookie. Wait, did y'all ask about The Rookie?
I did. The Rookie was my runner-up.
Yeah, I've seen The Rookie. That's the one with the guy who like throws it at the speed trap thing, and it says like 76, and then changes to 96 or whatever.
Yeah, suddenly out of
Yeah,
nowhere,
I've
as
seen
like
that one. I've seen that
a
one.
late 30s
That's a
guy.
kid.
He's throwing harder than ever. But it's really wholesome.
Me when I don't
Yeah.
play Rocket League and then come back to it, and I'm better than I ever was.
Sure, I think that's in your dreams.
I played a couple days ago, and I was
Okay,
Placement matches.
yeah.
You know.
What's that, Mama?
Who's next?
here's my outlier movie.
Oh, give it to us.
Here's my outlier movie that nobody else is going to say, and it's Cutting Edge.
I've never heard of Cutting.
Y'all seen that one?
No.
I have not heard that movie.
With
What?
the hockey player, the prima donna figure skater, and she has to take a partner who's the hockey player. It's a rom-com, but it's this classic kind of sports genre rom-com.
I've never
But then
heard of this
you have to
movie.
watch it.
Have y'all seen Fever
You've never
Pitch?
heard of it?
No. It
I've
was
also
released in
never heard of it.
1992, so a little out of our time. I
I've
guess,
heard of
but-
it, but I think it's probably because
Because
she,
yeah,
yeah.
I
because
think
of your
you've
mom.
seen Cutting Edge.
I
Sanders.
don't think I've seen it.
Maybe it's
The
been a minute.
number of there's one quote from it that I use in life all the time, and she's trying to teach the hockey player how to figure skate, and he doesn't know how to use a toe pick, and he just falls and messes up over and over, and she just keeps going toe pick, and so that's the quote
I've
that
heard
I
you
use for
quote it.
everybody when they're just
I've
Yeah,
heard you quote
usually
it.
when somebody's being an idiot.
I have heard you quote it, but I don't think you showed it to me. Or if you did, I forgot about it. JP, do you? I'm putting off
That's-
my favorite because I can't decide. And
Oh,
so
boy.
if
That's
you,
crazy.
Yeah, I've got.
JP has his. I mean, I see it
Okay,
pulled up.
okay.
So.
My favorite is Remember the Titans.
Oh.
I am a
Oh yeah,
massive Denzel Washington guy. I've actually watched
Fantastic actor.
34 of his, I believe, 42 movies, and I have a big ranking list in my phone of all the movies. It's number 8 on the list.
What's number one?
Number 1 is The Equalizer, the first one.
Okay. I've not seen that, but
And then number 2 would be Two Guns, and number 3 is Crimson Tide.
have you seen the Pelican Brief?
I have. That's number 8 on the list.
Okay, because
number-
that's
Oh, yeah.
I love the Pelican Brief. That's a great movie.
Yes. Number 9, Remember the Titans with Denzel Washington. It's one of my favorite movies of all time. So many great quotes from it, so many just great moments in that movie. I've shown there's the speech that Washington gives at Gettysburg. I've shown that to like my basketball teams before of like, get hyped. This is a big moment. I'll read the quote here. He says,
oh yeah.
He says, "You listen and you take a lesson from the dead. If we don't come together right now on this hallowed ground, we too will be destroyed, just like they were." It's a great movie. It speaks on great topics such as racism in America, and it's a great story. Also, because at the end, they don't win. Spoiler alert. Unfortunately, and no, it's my favorite movie of all time in sports, at least.
It's great.
That's a great one.
Yeah.
I've only seen that once, and I need to watch it again. It's not on any of my streaming platforms that I have, and so like I had to rent it the one time I watched it.
It should be on Disney Plus.
Oh,
I
well,
got
I
the
need to go back and watch
physical
it.
DVD somewhere.
The DVD.
I have
That's
the DVD.
crazy.
It's probably up in Virginia.
First, we had a
but
VCR mention. Now we got DVDs.
yeah, I can maybe fish that up for you.
That's crazy. I've got mine now. I've come to my conclusion. It's another one that I've only seen one time, which is kind of crazy because there's so many other movies out there like Facing the Giants and Moneyball and Air, or what's the other basket? Air is
Air Bud?
Hustle?
No, Air.
Oh,
He's talking
Air
about, see, is that even a sports movie?
Yes.
Or is that a business movie?
No, that's a sport. That's a sports movie just as much as Moneyball is.
I think more sports is played in Moneyball than there is.
You haven't
In
seen
Air.
Air then.
I have.
what's
Wait.
what's the movie, young man?
Oh yeah, the movie. My pick is Rudy. Sorry, my pick for favorite sports movie is Rudy. That's a crazy reaction. It is the only sports movie that made me cry as much as I ended up like bawling when at the end of that movie. I watched it with my mom and my dad and my younger brother, and me and him go round and round because that movie ends and they're all the sideline is chanting his name. And they're not sending him in, and then the people behind the sideline start chanting his name, and then the crowd starts chanting his name, and the coach finally just gives up and sends him in, and he gets the tackle, which we're not. I'm talking about the movie, not the real thing. We're not going to talk about the real thing. He gets the tackle, and then they show his family and I think it's his brother or his best friend. I can't remember exactly. I've only seen the movie once, like I said, and he's just
his best friend died.
That's what it was, and. They're like, oh, I know that guy. I know that guy. And so, I was bawling, and I look over, and when my brother, he gives permission to dox him on the show, by the way.
That is true. We are now allowed to use your brother's name on air.
So when my brother, his he was either asleep or just sitting there stone face, and I'm over here tears pouring down my face, just super emotional. And afterwards, he's like, I don't get it. And I was like, how do you not get it? They were chanting his name, and he got the sack. And he's like, I don't get it. And
not
so
a sports guy.
We go round and round about that one. I watched that clip again 2 months ago, cried again. I watched the 3.5-minute clip of them chanting his name, cried. I could pull it up right now on the podcast. I could watch it. 99% chance I start crying.
Well, we don't want to have two people crying in today's episode, but
this is true.
I have two about Rudy.
You have what?
Did you know that Did you know that in the scene, the final game, that the guy standing behind his parents in the stands is the real Rudy Rudiger in the movie?
Did not know that.
Kind of has on a big parka. So next time you watch it, the guy behind his mom and dad is the real Rudy. And my sister actually met the real Rudy at a conference some years ago. And I'm 5'2", and my sister is shorter than me, and Rudy was shorter than her. So he's not a big guy.
Shorter than 5'2"?
Aunt Charlotte said that he was shorter than her.
That's crazy.
In person.
Wow.
Something
now
fishy
he had
about
age,
this.
and we do shrink.
This is
I'm
true.
just saying, not a big guy.
That's crazy.
I think Rudy may be a folk tale.
Well, that doesn't take away from the fact that it's a fantastic movie.
Yeah.
I don't think it's a very good movie, personally.
We may have to do a whole segment where we just do our favorite sports movies because I had to leave out so many good ones.
Yeah. And
Oh,
there's a bunch.
to make a bad choice.
That'll be for the summer when no sports are going on.
True.
True,
It's just
yeah.
MLB.
We
And
can do a full episode about...
we'll do our Mississippi State Pillars, Legends, and GOAT.
Absolutely.
And then we'll do our favorite sports movies. I think that kind of wraps up the Mama Hen segment, Mama, unless you have anything else.
No, it was great. That was a lot of fun, guys.
Yeah,
I'm glad you were able to join us. I'm glad we got it worked out. At one point, we discussed her recording a video of her question and sending it to us, and we just play that and then talk about it.
The interaction's way better, though.
I think this was a lot more fun.
Way better.
And we've opened the door now
And
to
now I've
future
got movies
callers.
on my list that I need to go watch.
This
True.
is true.
Absolutely.
True. And now we do, Cutting Edge.
We are watching For the Love of the Game at the Coop at some point.
All right, bet. Thank you, Mama. Enjoy the rest of your night. I will talk to you later.
All right.
Love you.
All right. Bye, guys.
Bye.
Bye.
Good stuff, man.
That was sick.
That was awesome.
Sports movies are just so good. There's just I could just name them for a couple hours probably and just be like, man, that one's great. That one's great.
I'm resisting temptation to just rattle off 10 because that's not what this. We're not on that segment. We'll save it for the summer.
Absolutely.
Agreed.
What's next up?
Masters reaction is next up.
Take it away, JP.
I'm going to let JP take the lead here. Just want to preface it. This is the first time I've watched a good chunk of the Masters. I think I got introduced to the Masters on a good one. A roller coaster final day. A lot of highs and lows.
Yeah.
Chokes, false chokes, great shots, everything, drama, and then we end it with Rory finally getting his. He was talking to I don't even know who they were. Some people in the crowd, and he was like,
His friends from Ireland.
Yeah, he's like, I'm gonna go get my green jacket now, and that was just kind of a hard line for a guy that's tried so hard and has been so close before to finally get it. But I really only watched today. I know JP wants to kind of walk us through the whole tournament, so
Yeah, absolutely.
it's all you, JP.
And congrats to Roy. What a spectacular tournament. This is probably my of the ones I've seen in my life that I remember, this is probably my second favorite Masters ever, behind the 2019 Masters with Tiger. It was just a spectacular tournament. Thursday, McIlroy had a great round going to 15. We're like, oh, this is going to be his weekend. And then he double bogeys 15 and double bogeys 17. Justin Rose, who we didn't realize was going to be a part of the story today until late, does what he always does on Thursdays. He shoots a 7 under 65. Out of his 20 Masters appearances, this was the 5th time that he's led after the first round.
But he's never won.
He's never won. He had another chance at another playoff again today. And then DeChambeau and Scheffler played really well on Thursday. On Friday, McIlroy started slow on the front 9, but then he shot a 5 under second 9 to be within just 2 shots of the lead. And then, wow, the beginning of Saturday was absolutely electric. Rory makes 6 threes in a row. This is the first time in the entire history of the Masters that anyone has ever started a round with 6 threes in a row. The Masters have been played for, this was the 89th Masters, and 90 or so players play the tournament, and 50 or so play 4 rounds, and you have the other 40 that play 2 rounds. This is just...
He was just unconscious.
Unbelievable start to a tournament, or start to a day, and he stays hot. He led by as much as 4 on Saturday. He slowed down a ton as the day continued and led by only 1 at one point. Then he birdies 13. He hits a spectacular shot on 15. None too indifferent to some of the great shots Tiger and Jack have ever hit on 15. And he makes the first eagle of the day at 15 and the third of the tournament. And then today, man, we thought we were going to have a big battle between DeChambeau and Rory. We came into that night, Rory and DeChambeau were the only 2 guys that went to the media room and were asked questions the night before. Rory, you could just tell, man, this was today. The possibility of today was just eating him alive. It was one of those things I told my friend is like, if you saw your friend looking like this, you would go up and you would ask him, hey, dude, are you okay? Like, are you feeling all right? Is everything in your life going well? I mean, he was just absolutely despondent in interviews last night before even this morning and playing in the tournament. And then Bryson was unbelievably confident. He makes the birdie on 18 on Saturday from 60 feet to be within 2 shots of Rory to get in the final group. And he said yesterday, he was like, man, I really wanted to be in the final group. That was all I was trying to do because I wanted to be able to look Rory in the eyes and basically take him man-on-man, one-on-one. And so we really thought we were going to be in for a battle today. And it was looking like that. Rory has the worst start imaginable. On Saturday, he had a 370-yard drive on the first hole that cleared the bunker easily. Today, the adrenaline was pumping, but it wasn't a good enough contact. So he goes in the bunker on 1, and he doubles the first after a 3-putt. And then he makes a 5 on 2 after hitting it in the bunker again. And so suddenly a 2-stroke lead is suddenly a 1-stroke deficit after 2 holes. Bryson leads the Masters after coming in the day down by 2 strokes. And we're like, oh, shit. Here comes Bryson DeChambeau. Here comes, Rory's going to choke again. We've seen this story before. This is no different than 2014. And then he flips it back on 3. In the first 3 holes, there were 3 2-shot swings. That's essentially like in basketball if you went down and you got to stop defensively and they missed a 3, and then you went down the floor and you hit a 3. Like, this is just like, that's a 6-point swing in basketball. That's no different to the way it felt today here in Augusta. 3 2-shot swings in the first 3 holes as Rory birdies the 3rd and DeChambeau bogeys the 3rd. Just, absolutely crazy. Rory leads big throughout the rest of the afternoon. He led by as much as 5. DeChambeau continued to fall. He was just hitting bad putts, bad approach shots. His iron play wasn't great today.
Overall game was just rough.
Absolutely. Rory gets through pars a bunch of holes, and then he birdies 9 and 10, which should not go understated, were spectacular birdies, especially on Sunday. Those are not holes that you're guaranteed a birdie. And then he bogeys the 11th at Amon Corner. He misses a par putt he should have made. And then the 12th hole, an Amon Corner, the par 3, we've seen this story so many times before, so many Masters before, that like this is the spot where the leader chokes, where you see the big moment in 2019. Francesco Molinari came into the 12th hole leading by a stroke. He puts it in the water. Tony Finau puts it in the water. Tiger puts it on the green. Tournament changes from there. In 2016, Jordan Spieth comes to the hole. He had led by as much as 5 that day, was running away with the tournament. He puts one in the water. 2019 as well, Brooks Koepka put one in the water. Ian Poulter put one in the water. I mean, this is the spot where if someone's going to choke, it's right now. In 2022, Will Zalatoris has a chance to beat Scottie Scheffler, and he makes bogey at the 12th. Rory puts it on the green, and he makes par. And then we get to the 13th hole. He's up by 5 strokes. He's at 14 under. Jack and I are about to leave the apartment to come here to the studio to do some prep work for our mock draft. Sanders had gotten here at 4. We're about to pull up. And then 13 happens. Because he had such a big lead, he starts playing safe. He doesn't go after it in 2 when he had all 3 days prior. He leaves it short. And then he has, this is a routine pitch shot. Commentator Dottie Pepper, who had been following Rory and Bryson that day, said he had left himself in a position where he had the easiest shot imaginable into the 13th green from roughly 85, 86 yards, and he just blocks it out to the right, and he puts it in the water. And as soon as that happened, I was like, well, I guess I got to sit back down because this is about to get interesting.
I didn't even see it happen because I left the apartment to go grab something, and then I come back in like ready to go, and JP comes to the door, and he's like a little agitated, and he's like, Rory choked.
Yeah.
And I kind of thought he was joking, and then I look at the TV, and sure enough, he went from like a -14.
-14, and then in 3 holes he goes double bogey, and he was back down to 10 under. As soon as that happens, everyone's back in it. Ludwig Oberg was in it. Justin Rose is now back in it. DeChambeau's even back in it. Patrick Reed is back in it. Scottie Scheffler is all of a sudden has some opportunities to be in this. And Justin Rose immediately takes the lead at 11 under. He leads 11 under. Roy is at 10 under going into the 15th hole after he bogeys 14. And then we get to 15, and we saw the shot he hit on Saturday, at least I did, and a lot of people who watched the tournament. And he hits, this one of the greatest shots I've ever seen at the 15th hole and that there's ever been at the 15th hole. And he has a putt for eagle. It just a 7-iron, 207, downhill into this par 5. He's just choked away the lead. He's now trailing by a stroke. He's got to put, he put 40 feet or so of draw on this ball. And he's got to go under a tree limb that's about 25 feet in the air. If you haven't seen this shot, go watch the shot. It's just an insane shot. And he puts it close, and then he misses the eagle putt. And then he hits one of the best shots of the day on 16, where they had moved the pin location for Jack Nicklaus, and he misses the putt. And then he hits, the second shot of his life on 17. He hits this unbelievable. He lays up with a 3-wood and really kind of blocks it. So he's a long way in, and he hits a spectacular shot. He's yelling at it, get up, get up, get up. And it gets up, and it gets right by the pin. And he makes birdie, and he's up 12 under to 11 under going to the 18th.
And Rose is done at this point, so it's all on him.
Yes, Rose makes a spectacular putt on 18 to get to 11 under. He makes, that putt, if you've never watched the Masters, go watch that putt. That putt is the same putt that all the champions have made. Adam Scott made that putt in the playoff in 2013. That was the putt that Tiger has made before, that Nicklaus has made before, that Mickelson has made before. That is on the 18th hole on Sunday. If you want to win the Masters, you have to be able to make that putt. And he did it. And he got to 11 under. And he deserves a ton of credit for that. And then he has to sit there for a while because he's about the 5th group in, or 5th to last group in. And Rory's all the way back in the final group. Rory comes to the tee on 18. This is one of the most pressure shots in the world. You're hitting down a corridor. Patrons just line up and down. The sun setting on Augusta. It's a beautiful shot. And it's the shot all the champions have had to hit is the shot on 18, and he pipes it down the center, a beautiful fade, and he has 125. He has a gap wedge in. It's pretty simple. Make par, you win the Masters. He hits a shot, and he blocks it out to the right, and he puts it in the bunker. And in Rory fashion, he gets out, and he has a putt to win the Masters, and he misses it. And it's just complete agony. I don't understand how a guy that's gone through as much as he has in his career, when you get to that spot and he misses the putt, I don't know how he has the guts to then go into the playoff and play the way he did in the playoff hole. That is unbelievable. It cannot be outstated what he did in that moment. To be given another chance in the playoff and did it. There was so much tension in that playoff too. I mean, Rose and McIlroy, these are longtime buddies. These are Ryder Cup teammates. They've won the Ryder Cup together. They've played together for such a long time. These are the best of friends, really. Justin Rose and Rory McIlroy. Now they have to play for the Masters, and you have all these storylines. Rory trying to complete the Grand Slam. Rory trying not to choke again. Justin Rose has been here so many times before.
He was trying to become the oldest person to ever win his first Masters.
Absolutely, yeah, at 44.
He was also the last guy to play in a playoff.
Yes,
right?
yeah, he lost the playoff in 2018 to Sergio, and it's just like, wow, there's so much tension in this moment right here. And it's, golf is a sport that is extremely difficult, but when you add the amount of pressure that was in those two players and on that moment, I will say I'm a good golfer. I don't think I could ever hit the shots that they hit on the 73rd hole of the tournament in that playoff. I mean, Justin Rose steps up, pipes a drive, perfect. Rory steps up, all the pressure of the world. He's choked a 5-stroke lead, pipes it, perfect. 30 yards further than Justin, the same shot he had just hit on the 18th hole prior. Justin Rose steps up. I mean, this is unbelievable match play one-on-one. Rose hits a perfect shot. It literally lands a foot. The pitch mark is a foot from the hole, a foot from literally dunking it to win the Masters. It doesn't check up. It doesn't come back down the hill, and it stays up. Rory is then left with the same shot he just hit on 18 with a gap wedge, the same distance, just a slightly better lie. The shot he had just hit in the bunker that basically lost him the Masters. He hits perfect shot. I mean, he called it a 3/4 gap wedge. It lands up on the back tier, and it rolls back down to about 3 feet. I mean, just the amount of pressure that are in those moments, and for them to execute, it can't be outstated how good these golfers are on the grandest stage of them all. I mean, the Masters, the Super Bowl, the Wimbledon. It is the tournament for these players. It's what everyone ever has dreamed of if they've ever played golf in any competitive fashion. Rose has a putt. I told Jack and I told my friends there at the apartment, I've seen that putt so many times before. We've all seen that putt so many times before. It's one of those putts right there on the 18th that you don't. Every year it seems like the way it breaks changes. One year that putt goes left. One year that putt goes right. One year the guy actually makes the putt. It's such an impossible putt. And then you put all the gravity of that moment, and maybe not 50,000, 20,000 people are right there surrounding you, and you have a chance to win the Masters. Rose misses it. Rory taps in. I mean, incredible tournament. Second best I've ever seen. And just the amount of motion going through Rory. Rory has been a crowd favorite for over a decade and a half. He was a hot shot kid. He came in and he played just outstanding at the beginning of his career. He wins 4 major tournaments. He has the moment in 2014 where he chokes the Masters. A month later, he wins at Congressional to win the PGA Championship, and he's gone on this decade-long drought of not winning a major tournament, choking major tournaments. I mean, we all remember the U.S. Open last year. He's in the Open last year as well, and he gets it done in Rory McIlroy fashion. I mean, we're talking some of the greatest shots you've ever seen. and then I mean some of the most head scratching moments you've ever seen. I'm sure it would. I mean, to give it an analogy, it's like I would equate it to what Cowboy fans have gone through. One of those things where it's just like, man, we were really, really good a long time ago, which Roy was, and Roy's still been very good, but we can't get it done on the grandest stage, and we always seem to lose these games in these fashions that just seemed indescribable. I mean, Dak Prescott sliding and the time runs out, losing to Aaron Rodgers with the big throw he makes down the sideline. And then losing to the Rams. It's losing to the 49ers 2 years ago as well. It really kind of equates to that, where it's just like, man, how many times can you go through this heartbreak and still be a fan of this guy? And for him, it's just, you could tell that was one of the most genuine expressions of emotion you'll ever see out of a human being. The amount of weight that was lifted off of his shoulders for everything that he's ever been through, that was amazing, and that was awesome for the sport of golf. I mean, it's so surreal to see him put on the green jacket and to be a Masters champion. He deserves it 100%. I mean, just spectacular tournament. And I'm glad that was the first tournament that you've really gotten to see, and I'm sure you're going to remember that for a long time. And
100%.
if you ever watch other Masters, you're like, oh, that was, I mean, this is the shot where Rory hits the into 15, and it's the beautiful 7-iron or something.
I remember 15 vividly because he hit the shot. I'm pretty sure it was 15.
Yes.
And you were like, oh, he's going to have to, play it out or whatever you said, just kind of, get it back out,
Yeah,
out
I
behind the
assumed
tree.
he was going to lay up.
Yeah,
and then it looked like he was going.
And then, he just went forward and crushed it. It was just, he was so two-faced because he would hit great approach after great approach, not talking about his, blunder on 18 where he punched into the bunker, and then just couldn't hit the putt to seal it. And it wasn't like they were, he wasn't missing 5-footers, but they were definitely, you would expect him to hit one or two of those, and he just couldn't seem to hit any of them to kind of seal the deal. And then he misses the one on 18. Gosh, I mean, and you could see it on his face. He could not believe that he was kind of back in this position again. And then he rebounds, and in the playoff, just the fact that, I mean, Justin Rose hit great shots.
Oh, yeah, absolutely.
And every time Justin Rose hit a great shot, he just came up and hit a better one.
Mm-hmm.
And, I mean, he hit 3 excellent shots to win it. And so it was just it kind of summed it up, honestly, the fact that, every time it seemed like he was out of it, he was right back in it. Every time it seemed like it was his for sure, he found a way to kind of make it interesting. And like you kind of said, it just really seems to sum up his career.
Absolutely.
I've not followed his career because I'm not a golf fan, but I've seen, this week, I've seen a lot about it. And so reading about it, it just kind of seems like the perfect way for him to finally have won it. Just kind of keep overcoming setbacks and blunders.
It's an unbelievable story of perseverance. To be as good as he has been. I mean, it's kind of, a little similar to Tom Brady in a sense that he was amazing, at least in terms of winning Super Bowls at the beginning of his career, and then he just has great year after great year after great year, but they just don't get it done in the playoffs. And then, they, in that Seahawks Super Bowl, they don't play great. You have, obviously you had the 2 chokes, or not chokes, but losses to the Giants that you should have probably won, but they're not playing great, and then they get a miracle. Malcolm Butler has a miracle. Another sports moment that just kind of reminds me of what we saw today with Rory. It's a unbelievable story of perseverance, and just a great. The amount of stuff mentally. I would just exhaustion. Every single time he showed up to those hallowed grounds in Augusta since 2014, it's been, is this the year he's going to get it done? Is this the year he's going to get it done? In interviews, he's always gotten tossed the harder questions. He always has to get reminded of 2014. This year specifically, he got reminded of his choke against Bryson last year. And for him to take all of that, answer those questions in a delightful manner, and then still get it done. Congrats, Roy. That was spectacular.
Was he the fan favorite?
This
Because
tournament, I would
Just
say, yeah.
watching it, like, I only watched this afternoon from, like, basically when you texted and said, oh, we aren't leaving yet. That's when I turned it on. And I was watching the Warriors-Clippers game at the same time. But, like, every time he would, like, hit a shot, they would start chanting his name, Rory, Rory. And I don't think they did that for anyone else. So is that just a thing, or is he, like, the fan favorite? Like,
He was, I mean, undeniably the fan favorite. Bryson had a really large crowd that entire day, and he has had a large crowd with the patrons specifically. But yeah, Rory was the fan favorite. It was a lot like 2019 with Tiger, where the entire crowd was behind him. Yeah, it was spectacular to see. I mean, the fans, they wanted it for Rory this entire week, and this entire weekend, and especially today. So many times they were celebrating way too early,
Yeah.
given the guy that was wielding the golf club. This is not a guy you can celebrate with quickly. He's not known, at least, to get it done in the easiest fashion. I mean, he had every single piece of the choke that you'll see out of these leaders sometime on Sunday, but he was able to get through it somehow, and it's just it can't go out without saying how spectacular it was, especially with, I mean, he becomes the first champion ever to win the Masters with 4 double bogeys on the weekend. He joins Elite Company. He is one of the greatest of the game. He's not in the GOAT conversation, but he's one of 6 golfers ever to win each of the 4 majors. He completes the Grand Slam. He wins his 5th major. You don't really get to get called one of the greats of all time without winning the Masters, and he finally has that on his resume, and I'm very interested to see how his view in the public, going back kind of to your question, Sanders, goes from here, because it's something that the fans have just wanted forever, for a decade, and for it to finally happen, I'm interested to see how that will go, whether it'll fall back a little bit, and now we'll start cheering for Bryson a little bit more or something. I don't think they won't start to hate him. He's too great of a guy. But it was, I mean, for the entire golf world, it was a massive sigh of relief, it kind of felt like, and just a spectacular day.
I think it helped too, in terms of, kind of seemed like the whole crowd was behind him, especially the last few holes. Bryson was pretty much completely out of it. And so you're just kind of cheering for the guy who was battling it out with Justin Rose.
Yeah.
And so there wasn't necessarily, and I mean, I agree, like, there were many other reasons they still would have cheered for him. It would have been a very pro-Roy crowd. But it wasn't like him and Bryson were, like, duking it out down the stretch in the same group. So
yeah, that's
how do they decide what hole to play for the playoff?
For the playoff, it's always the 18th hole. And then if for some reason they tie after the 18th hole, they will go to the 10th hole. And then if they tie at the 10th, they'll go back to the 18th. But it's sudden death.
Right.
They play the 18th, and then they play the 10th, because you're getting that late in the afternoon that you're limited on sunlight, so they just play the 2 holes that are closest to the clubhouse and on the back 9 as well.
The second 9.
The second 9, yes. Sorry. I've been really good with that in the 2 episodes. I just messed that up finally.
No, you good.
why is it not the back 9?
It's something. It's Masters. They try to professionalize it and
Gotcha.
traditionalize it. So you don't call fans. You call them patrons. You don't call the rough. You call it the second cut. You don't say the back 9 because it sounds like behind.
Yeah.
Okay,
So it's a little derogatory. So they'd say second 9. But yeah, it was. They play the 18th and the 10th.
I think it was also like, because if you start saying back 9, then you start saying back half, and that starts to sound like other thing. It's just like it's a decorum thing that the Masters tries to maintain. So it's like, I don't remember where I saw that interview, but it was some dude who was on like a reel that was talking about all the rules that there are when you're talking about the Masters as like an announcer or commentator.
Yeah,
Tough stuff.
it was. I'll say it for the 12th time, and then I'll stop here because I could really just continue to say how spectacular it was. Spectacular weekend, spectacular tournament. Will go down in history forever. Congratulations, Rory McIlroy, 2025 Masters champion.
Yeah.
Yeah.
I mean, thanks, JP. That was good stuff. I do shout out Justin Rose. Played a great final day. Was not really in the picture, and then shot -6. On a day where most other people kind of scuffled. Most other people shot kind of right around par, or even plus a couple. Rory was plus on the day, was he not?
+1.
Yeah, +1. And he just kind of soared up, and obviously didn't get it done for the second time in his career, which really sucks. But a good 18 holes from your boy Justin. All right, I think we can move on, unless Sanders, you have anything else you want to add?
No, I'm good. Let's move along.
All right, so it came out kind of, was it Thursday-ish when the rumors started about Nico not showing up to practice and him wanting more?
Yes.
Yeah.
But I mentioned it in the introduction what we're going to talk about. But Tennessee's former QB Nico, you want to say the last name, Sanders? Iamaleava, thank you. Decided he was kind of going to hold out for more money. No one really knows what the exact amounts were. Rumored he probably wanted around $4 million.
Yes.
Because whenever he signed his deal, the market has changed since then. And Tennessee basically held firm. He didn't show up. They had their spring game this weekend, actually.
Mm-hmm.
He didn't show up to practice before the spring game, and at that point, it was like, okay, this is very real. He's not just like, I don't know. He didn't, just like try and pull a fast one and get some more money without really being serious about it. But he was very serious about if he didn't kind of get the money he wanted, he was going to leave. And it came out that he had already been talking to other schools, and then the next day, it was like he had entered the transfer portal.
Saturday morning.
Yeah, Saturday morning he entered the transfer portal. Just kind of a play for leverage, and props to Tennessee for holding out because I honestly don't think he's that great of a QB.
Nope.
He does have still potential and stuff, but paying $4 million for a guy that, especially in their biggest games last year, didn't really have good performances.
Yeah, 16 touchdowns to 11 interceptions, if I've got that correct.
And
yeah.
9 of those touchdowns were in SEC play, and they came against 2 teams, I believe.
4 were against Vandy.
Yeah.
And then
and he had a bunch against their non-conference opponents as well.
I don't remember what the details were, but basically it was like this guy threw for a bunch of touchdowns against 2 or 3 teams, and not a lot against the rest of the teams.
Yeah.
I'm actually pulling it up now.
I do feel like he probably has somewhere lined up, or at least a couple options. In my eyes, now he is a kid, so he could have done something foolish. He doesn't leave and pull this move unless, assuming also the report is correct that he's already talked to other people. That he's talked to other people and has legit interest from other programs for the price he wants. Because if he actually talked to other programs and they're like, yeah, no, like, why would we give you that? Then why would he try and get more from Tennessee and then leave?
Yeah, I think the reports were that there were teams that had reached out and said, if you enter the portal, like, we're willing to talk in your range.
Yeah.
Which
I'm not sure to see who those teams are, though.
I believe it was the report. Me and JP were talking about this. It was a green team.
Yeah, it was either.
We couldn't remember.
Well, I
who
saw a report
Oregon
that
or
was like,
I think it was Oregon.
he's been playing somewhere in the
think it
Czech.
was.
But I also saw the report that Dan Lanning's the one that told Josh Heupel
Yes.
that Nico had reached out to him. So it's just hard because it's all a rumor game at this
It
point,
is a
really.
bunch
So
of
trying to
rumors.
speculate about how and why and where he's going to go and for how much. But I do really think there would at least be some genuine interest from other people for him to enter like this. And it really puts Tennessee in a bind. Do we know, JP, who their QB2 is?
No, not off the top of my head. And that's kind of the big point that I'm.
Yeah, I'll let you talk about that then if that's your big point.
Yeah.
Um,
Yeah, I agree with Jack. This is just a complete story about leverage. This is a 5-star quarterback who led them to the playoffs last year, whether he was good statistically or not. Obviously, that the Tennessee offense was struggled, especially compared to the prior quarterbacks.
And when it was healthy, it was the run game with
Yeah.
Dylan Sampson. That was
Absolutely. But yeah, comparatively to Hendon Hooker and Joe Milton, it was not the same kind of Tennessee offense that we have grown accustomed to seeing. But he was a 5-star quarterback that kind of has him going in that department. He led them to the playoffs, and because there's really no true backup in house, and there's no easy transfers available right now. There's no one sitting around waiting to sign anywhere. All the good quarterbacks have the kid from Washington State has signed, Jackson Arnold has signed, Luke Cromenwork has signed with the Bulldogs in Mississippi State. Croman Hook. However you say his last name.
Hook.
Crazy comparison there, but yeah.
He's a 5-star quarterback, so he has that carrying for him as well.
Didn't really play as much as some of the other guys, but
so I mean, Nico saw that and smartly tried to leverage it, and it's something that it's a life lesson for anyone out there working in general. If you see a spot where you clearly are the person and maybe the only person that is able to do a specific job, and that job holds high value for that organization you're in, and there's no clear backup or second option, and you feel like you're being undervalued, take advantage of that. And Nico did that, and Nico tried to do that. And I don't blame the kid whatsoever for it.
For sure.
Because that is just, I mean, that's really smart business right there. The only problem is he may have pushed his leverage too far. He's likely not going to get that money anymore. By rule, unless he comes back to Tennessee, he has to leave the SEC.
And I think that ship has sailed, him coming back to Tennessee.
Yeah, he cannot transfer in the SEC, at least in the spring window. So he would have to wait all the way until fall camp to transfer in, and then you have 3 weeks before the season starts. And, you know, for him, Tennessee was set up to win the SEC potentially. I believe they were either the third or fourth favorite. And then they were also the 8th favorite to win the college football playoff prior to him potentially leaving. So
fans loved him too. I mean,
yeah, it's unfortunate in that case because it's like, well, maybe he pushed it too far because you had this amazing opportunity in front of you. I guarantee if you played out this season and played decent, you're going to be drafted next year if you wanted to declare for the NFL draft. You were going to make good money at Tennessee. You were going to be in the playoff. The world was going to see you. And this is at least in my eyes, I put money on it as a gambler. I saw this as a Tennessee team that could take advantage of a very weak schedule in the SEC next year and find themselves in Atlanta, Georgia. And it's kind of sucks to see that, unfortunately, because there's no guardrails or boundaries in this sport whatsoever, we see a star quarterback forced to leave because he wanted more money. It's something it's unheard of because we've never been in a spot where a sport has this lack of guardrails or boundaries or anything. So I don't blame Nico whatsoever for the decision he made. It's just unfortunate that this is what it has come to for him and for the Volunteers.
Yeah, I'll get you in just a second, Sanders. I've seen a lot of, people compare it to like the Wild West, and that is really how it feels. There's just zero rules. I have another point to make, but Sanders, you go ahead.
Yeah, I've got some. I was just doing some very quick research. So, the Tennessee's done a very good job recruiting and kind of backfilling. They have a redshirt freshman quarterback. Let me find. I just had him. Jake Merklinger. Look, that is how it is spelled.
Either Merklinger or Merklinger.
A 4-star in the class of 2024, the 13th best quarterback. That is really not a comparison. Nico Iamaleava was the second best player in the country in the 2023 class according to 24/7, behind just Arch Manning. But yeah, so it's going to be a drop off likely, but given how I would say underwhelming Iamaleava's performance was as a 5-star last season in a pretty high-powered offense, I don't know how big the drop-off is going to be when you bring in a 4-star who, they were clearly recruited to bring in.
Sure.
A little bit smaller than Iamaleava, but
he's not tiny though.
No, he's still 6'3".
Yeah.
Nico is 6'6".
I think the thing there is, while Nico didn't play fantastic last year, there was still a lot of hope at progression.
Correct.
And that so this guy may be able to live up. This guy could be great for all we know. You never know. But this guy maybe can live up to Nico of last year, but does he have the same ceiling that Nico does? And that's why it hurts.
But JP made the point earlier that Nico was trying to use his leverage. I guess I'm going to kind of count on Josh Heupel and the Tennessee administration to recognize, right? They're going to pay Nico what he's worth, and if he wasn't worth the $4 million, I don't think they did let him walk without a plan. I guess is my point.
I don't think they had tons of a choice, but I do also somewhat agree.
The choice was paying $4 million.
But I think they just kind of set off rip. They weren't going to do that because basically we weren't going to play the game, almost whether it hurts us or not. Like, we're not putting up with that. And it just kind of sounds like, from a locker room standpoint, he wasn't the greatest Jimmy either. I mean, these reports are going to come out, and then he's going to be like, cool, I get my $4 million, I come back. But after he's missed practices and stuff like that, just not the best look. Because I didn't say this earlier, but reports have come out that he missed more than just that final practice, that he's kind of been in and out this whole spring. So we'll have to see how it goes. I want to go back to JP's point, though. Like, you can't fault the guy. But I completely agree. You can't fault him or his family for making what is purely a business decision and trying to get more money. What I don't necessarily enjoy or like and disagree with is, we saw his dad go on Twitter and go after the reporter that made it and say it was totally false. And it's just like, I'm totally fine if you're going to play this game like a business and try to go get more money, but let's just call a spade and not pretend that you're loyal to a team, especially at this point in the process where you're basically already in the transfer portal and out the door.
Yeah.
And I think he called the reporter a bitch or something like that. Like, it's just
Nakos?
uncalled for. Yeah.
Nakos,
It's frustrating in that standpoint. Like, just be honest at that point.
Yeah.
Where y'all are
what's
at.
your story?
Or just don't say anything, because you're on Twitter. Like, it's not like a reporter came up to him and said, "Can I have a statement?" He decided to go after the reporter on Twitter.
Yeah.
So that's what really annoys me, is just let's not,
What are they going to try and say? Oh, we're looking for a better situation. Like, what?
Yeah.
Yeah, it's just
don't say anything.
You're very
to be
clearly
honest.
there's only one option there, and everyone knows what it is.
So we may see more of this. I kind of expect us to see more of this. Maybe not this season, but definitely next season and stuff.
I hope to see more responses like Tennessee's.
Yeah, I think it would be helpful. It's just a collective backbone in that regard. Hopefully, in the next few years, we get some guardrails that JP was talking about.
I agree.
Some sort of revenue sharing.
I wonder.
Well, revenue sharing will be a part of this next season.
Yeah.
Correct.
Players will get revenue for that. There is, unfortunately, there's though structure on that, which is something Josh Pate has made a point of a ton of. There's no structure to it, so that this isn't going to fix anything. In fact, it just brings more money available to these players. It doesn't keep players from transferring year to year.
Yeah.
There's no downside or more incentive. In fact, there's more incentive to transfer to a school that has a higher revenue share, because there's more money available to make there.
I think the biggest thing for me, because I agree that there's still more money, is the structure of these transfer windows needs to be way better, because it just, even if like you're allowing players to still transfer, it doesn't necessarily screw over the school as bad as it does like someone like Tennessee in this instance. Also don't know if something like a legit contract could come into play at some point.
It needs to.
In terms of like, you're gonna play you're signing a contract to play here for at least 1 year, and like you are only eligible to play this year at this school.
Yeah, and I think it should just. I mean, if we're gonna go down the professional route,
because we're there basically already. Let's be
go
real.
Fully down the professional route. Make it game checks, so these players have to show up and play to make this money.
Mm-hmm.
That's something
you can fine them if they miss practice.
Yeah,
like
that's a big part of the NFL is the players get the signing bonus and all that money up front. But then they have to play to get a game check, and those game checks are split across all the games they play off the salary, not the signing bonus. That's just something that needs. If we're going to go down that route, like Jack said, just go ahead and do it.
Yeah.
Make it just like the NFL in that case.
If you want to get paid like an adult, you got to show up and work like an adult.
Yeah, absolutely. And my final thing I think we can move on is people are making this take of, oh, he was underproductive last year. Why does he deserve this money? Like I said, it's not a hot take.
I made that take.
Yeah, it's not a hot take to say Nico was never good, because he wasn't. He wasn't productive. He clearly was a step down from Hooker and Milton of years prior, and that's not a hot take. It's just a story of leverage.
supply and demand, basically.
Supply and demand. This kid made, in my opinion, a great move trying to use that leverage to make as much money as you can, because you're only in college for 4 years. and so you only get 4 opportunities to make the big bucks. And
Especially if he, I mean, we just said he really hasn't been playing that great.
Yeah.
NFL necessarily is never a sure thing.
Yeah.
So you can't really pass up opportunity for that kind of money.
yeah, in life, see money, take money, as long as it's legal, of course.
Correct.
But I don't fault the kid at all.
I will be interested. This is my final point, and now that JP's made his final point. One thing I've always heard is that life is full of pendulums. Pendulums?
Pendulum, I believe.
Anyway, that word, the thing that swings back and forth. I think that the college football money-making transferable pendulum started swinging in 2017-18 with Shea Patterson, when the NCAA got rid of or loosened the rule, got rid of the rule that required you to sit out a year, and in that year, players started taking control. Not taking control. I guess taking control. I mean that in the best way, not in like that they are overthrowing, but just like the reality
That's
of
some
how
autonomy
much
and stuff.
the reality of how important they are to the teams became very apparent. And so that kind of started, and that pendulum has been swinging, and players have gotten more and more autonomy to where they can go wherever they want, whenever they want, for however long they want, and ask as much money as they want. I wonder if Tennessee putting their foot down, we're maybe not at the peak yet, but maybe we're going to start seeing the pendulum slow down and we start seeing it swing back the other way.
Maybe.
And this is, I'm talking like over the next couple of years. It's not an immediate thing.
Yeah, and I mean, it'll
Yeah,
swing back in a
gonna
different
say.
way. It's obviously not like
Right. We're not
a
going
true
back to,
pendulum where it's, swings back to the
right.
exact
We're not
same
going back
spot.
to the exact same spot, but I could see like with revenue sharing. I mean, it has to be fixed because this current model is not sustainable. So right now, the people making decisions are making the decisions in the manner that makes them money, which is
Yes.
And currently, this is making them money. But the reality is that as people become more and more frustrated, it is going to stop making them money because people are going to start hating the product. Not because the football is any worse, but just because of all of the negativeness around it.
Yeah. We'll have to see. I mean, ratings were still pretty high last year, and even
Correct.
taking it to college basketball, people complained all about this March Madness, and it was like the most watched March Madness ever.
Yeah.
I do think a big thing too is, and this will be my final point.
Oh boy.
In regards to what you said, is I do expect there to be regulation stuff. I do think a big issue the NCAA is having is they keep trying to make rulings, and then state judges and stuff kind of have more power than the NCAA. So then the state, about like the, transfer, the waivers for JUCO players and stuff. Then the state judge says that, and the NCAA is like, okay, well, like my hands are tied. What do I do?
Yeah.
So I'm interested to see how that kind of dynamic plays out as well. We can move on to JP Saints.
Mm-hmm.
Big
Now,
news.
huge news. I know JP's happy about this, so you can kick it off, JP.
Well, I do want to start. I am not happy about
Good save.
someone getting injured. I'll never be happy about that.
Good preface.
And no one should be happy about that. I'm trying to think of a scenario where I could. No, I wouldn't.
No.
No, that's just not human. I would never wish for someone to get hurt. But the sun has risen. The days of Derek Carr likely to be over. Apparently he's got some shoulder issue. They're considering surgery. He's in serious doubt to play this season for the New Orleans Saints. And I can't wait because everyone in the fan base is ready for this era to be over. As a Saints fan, I really liked the signing at first, and I think a lot of fans would share that sentiment. It felt like since Drew retired that we just wanted to find some kind of answer, some kind of security. We had rotated through numerous quarterbacks, Taysom Hill, Andy Dalton. I mean, I don't want to say the F word, but Fudge and Ian Book started a game for the Saints in a season, and Trevor Siemian started games for the Saints. And as a Saints fan, it was just awful to watch. I'm going to be completely honest. I didn't watch really any of the games that season because it's like, I'm just not going to watch that product. There's no reason to. Let me just remember the Drew days and like, oh, that was the last time the Saints played football, not this terrible football team that we had now. So, yeah, I think the Derek Carr era is over. I'm happy for it. I will be hanging a Derek Carr jersey in my man cave one day, and my son will ask me,
Who the heck is that?
why the hell do you have a Derek Carr jersey hung up on your wall? And I will say, well, who dat? Exactly. Kind of what Jack was saying there. Who dat? So yeah. I mean, y'all want to give any thoughts on that before I give my solution, I guess?
No, I mean, I really don't have tons to say. I do think the injuries have just really been killer. Just a sign that really feel like it's been derailed by that rather than a performance thing.
Yeah, New Orleans, I mean, we just rehired him, because the data showed that they obviously have done an excellent job. New Orleans has notoriously, at least over the past decade, had the worst medical staff in the entire country. Look at the Pelicans this season and look at them in prior seasons. I mean, the Zion injuries, Brandon Ingram injuries, Herb Jones, Trey Murphy. I mean, just
DeJounte Murray,
just
this goes on and on.
Decimated with injuries. And part of that is bad luck. A lot of these are injuries that are, well, I mean, yeah, he popped his Achilles. That's going to happen. What does the medical staff have anything to do with that? But it is something of note that
even a training staff thing at that point to making sure their body is ready to roll for the season.
They're not being prepared the right way. Michael Thomas, Saints legend, not a pillar, Saints legend.
Had turf toe for like 3 years.
Yeah, and he, since he retired, or not retired, but been released and not on the Saints anymore, has torn the medical staff apart numerous times, saying that the way they practice things, the kind of drills and stretches and stuff that they show these athletes aren't the ones that work. And, yeah, I mean, the injuries have just – it's felt like for at least the past 2 years that every single time I follow a Saints page on Instagram, and he posts the injury report each day leading up to the game. And I can't remember the last time we've gone into a week, and even one day of the week, we've had less injuries on the injury report than the other team. And they just got rehired, and now they're going to be here for a couple more years. So
huge rehiring.
Yeah, Derek Carr had only been injured once since 2017 when he broke his back with the Raiders. And with the Saints, he had 7 different injuries, and he had been there for 2 years, 2023 and 2024. So maybe that's a little bit more data. I don't think that's ever going to get fixed, though. But, yeah.
Give us your solution, JP.
The solution is Shedeur Sanders. Give me Deion's kid out of Colorado. I really, really hope we don't have to trade up here in 11 days.
You got to get him, though, because fan base can't stomach a full season of Spencer Rattler.
Yeah, I mean, Rattler would be the starter right now. I said at some point last year that, oh, yeah, Spencer Rattler could be the guy. I think he has the talent to do that, but his receiver core in those games were just brutal. Bub Memes, Mason Tipton.
Household names for sure.
Marquis Valdez-Scantling on his second team of the year. These were just insane names that we were throwing to, and then offensive line was banged up a little bit throughout the year. So I don't think Rattler is a good enough long-term answer. If Shedeur's there at 9, we have to take Shedeur Sanders, and I think we should take Shedeur Sanders.
I think.
Go ahead.
I think Sanders has a proposal.
No. This is I'm doing research for later.
Okay, never mind. I apologize.
Okay. There's another show coming after this.
We're doing a mock draft tonight as well in a separate show that y'all will get.
You can see
tomorrow.
I'm a little uninvested in the New Orleans Saints, so I'm doing some impromptu.
We got to get you an NFL team.
Yeah, we need
we're
you
gonna
to
need
one before the season.
Before the season.
Okay.
And it can be on the show.
Let's
maybe
declare before the draft.
Before the draft, and you have tons of time.
You got 11 days.
Yeah.
Yeah, like I'm not already working 6 hours a day.
You're gonna see
doing draft prep.
Okay, well let's
see
say
a
this
player you like, and
yeah. Or you can say if
I
this
picked a team.
draft,
I had a team for 3 years, from 2018 to 2021. Cleveland Browns.
you want to stay with them.
I,
We're giving you an
welcome
off.
to.
Okay, well, yeah, we're giving you
you're
an
given
off
that
of the
option.
ship.
Yeah, I will be getting off the Cleveland Brown. I'm already off the Cleveland Browns ship. I've declared myself not a fan. I was a Browns fan because, like y'all know, huge draft guy. 2018, they got Baker Mayfield, Ward at 4, Chubb early in the second. I mean, it was an awesome draft. They
And
brought
they
in
decided to give up on
OBJ and
Baker.
Jarvis Landry. I mean, it was insane. It was like
Yeah.
the way they built that team was they went sicko mode. The GM went sicko mode, and then they just couldn't get the coach to put it together.
And they gave up on Baker too early.
They did give up on Baker too early. That we don't have to talk about that.
We
That's
could,
a
if,
tangent.
or talking about picking a team, you could pick a player and be like, whoever this player gets drafted to, that's my team.
That's terrifying.
That would be very interesting.
What if he goes to a
for-
team I hate, like the Eagles?
Well, you know, you can pick. You can just.
We'll give you like
pick-
we'll give you a pass if we'll give you 3 veto teams and be like, if they go to one of those 3 teams, I'm not rooting for them.
Okay.
Okay.
I don't even know if there's a play. I mean,
You could rig it and be like, I'm taking Cam Ward as my player, but I think it'd be more fun if you found someone that was in the
imagine I
60s.
did that. My little brother is a huge Will Levis fan. Imagine I was like, oh, I'm gonna cheer for Cam Ward.
Yeah, you can't do that.
I
Actually,
cannot do
That
that.
would be
That would
cool.
make him so mad
That
because
would be
he's the
pretty cool.
biggest Will Levis fan. He
that
has
or we
jersey-
spin a wheel and that chooses your team.
Oh, jeez, please no.
we got options. We can reconvene off air.
We'll
and
do
come
a
back
whole.
on
We'll do
a future
hour and
show.
a half show about me picking my
Yeah.
team.
Okay.
Big stuff.
Yeah. My final point. Yeah.
Yes, please do take the show back, JP.
Watch the NFL draft and us cover it in 11 days to
Heck
see
yeah.
my reaction to the 9th overall pick from the New Orleans Saints. If it's Shador, I'm probably gonna be going crazy. A lot of celebrating, a lot of fist bumps. Potential for our TVs to fall over because I knocked a cord over or something.
I'm gonna have to I'm gonna be sure to tweet out a picture of our setup like before we go live.
Yeah.
The amount of preparation we're putting into this draft is actually so fun, but it's a lot. I mean, I'm editing player footage, and that takes like 30, 45 minutes to a guy, and we're doing 40 of them. We're doing team bios. Each of us is preparing team bios. We're preparing player bios. I've made graphics. We've got, y'all can't see it right now, but behind the camera, we've got 2 TVs set up. We're testing. I mean, we're
It should be a good time.
It's gonna be
putting a lot of effort into it.
a fun 4 hours.
Yeah. It's gonna
It's
be
gonna be a blast.
Really fun.
It's gonna be a
4 hours.
blast. Unless you have anything else, you have any closing thoughts, or was that your closing?
Yeah, I've got a
remarks?
closing thought.
Okay.
Who dat say gonna beat them Saints?
Great closing thoughts. Our last segment of the show is first look at the NBA playoffs,
Mhm.
and I have a proposition for this. We really focus on. We can give a quick rundown of the playoffs. We can really focus on the play-in games because those are played Tuesday, Wednesday.
Yes.
And so we can kind of more hone in on those games that'll be happening before our next show.
I wouldn't hone in on those games because 3 of them hold. In fact, 3.5 of them hold 0 impact on the playoffs whatsoever, in my opinion.
Correct.
Because the team
But we
they're
don't
gonna
even
play
know
is
the
going
the
to win.
legitimate bracket yet without them.
Fair. But we
Hone in
ki-
is a
we-
little
We
strong,
kind of do,
but we should at
because
least start there, in my opinion.
we can start there.
I don't care. I might put my microphone back.
I would
over
just
here
say
for this
that
segment.
Statistically, in the years of the playoff, no 9 or 10 seed have made it to the postseason.
Small sample size.
Yeah.
I think that changes this year.
Who do you have making it out?
I think the Kings become the 8th seed in the West.
Interesting. Well, they'll get swept over the Thunder, so it doesn't matter.
You have the Grizzlies, who don't know how to beat an above 500 team.
True.
And then the Mavs, who probably realistically don't want to win.
The Kings aren't above 500 though.
You make a good point. Regardless, they can't beat. They're I mean, they were the 2 seed like a month ago, and now they find themselves as the 8.
Yeah.
And I don't think the Mavs want to win.
Why are we
that game.
letting teams that are below 500 into the playoffs?
It's
Money.
into the play-in, so it's not technically into the
Yeah.
playoffs.
But it is the playoffs. They are in.
It feels a little
We
different.
let below 500 teams win the division in NFL.
Yeah, but they won the division. These teams
we
did
let
not
teams
win the
that
division.
have won like 84 games and 80 or like 81 games and 81 losses in the MLB playoffs.
Yeah, I don't like that.
It's a little bit of a money thing, and also trying to make the regular season more important, because by trying to hope that teams aren't going to want to be in the play-in,
Yes.
and therefore if they're the 7 or 8, there'll be late season pushes, which we actually saw this year.
I agree. This last week was very, very good for NBA basketball.
Shout out the
regular
West
season.
for carrying the basketball, for carrying NBA as it always does.
Yes.
So we're looking at it. We'll look at the West first. We have the 1 seed Thunder. The Rockets are the 2 seed. They've finished very strong in that regard. Have been playing really good basketball as of late. Lakers are the 3 seed. Nuggets ended up as the 4 seed. They'll play the 5 seed Clippers in round 1. The Timberwolves are the 6 seed. Huge climb for them today. They could have finished as far as the 8, but they finished as the 6. They'll get the Lakers in round 1. And that's all the teams that are firmly in right now. The Warriors and the Grizzlies will play April 15th for the 7 seed. And then the loser of that will play the winner of the Kings Mavericks for the honor of getting killed by the Thunder in the playoffs. Going to go and call that one a sweep. This is not our playoff prediction show. You're going to give them a gentleman's sweep? I think it's a sweep.
It's a sweep.
It's a sweep, yeah. So that's the West. On the East side, the Cavs are the 1 seed. Did I say 64 and 18?
Yes.
64 and 18. And then the Celtics are the 2 seed. They kind of coasted through the regular season.
With 60 wins.
Yeah.
Coasting.
But still coasted. They're
down
that good.
year for them, and they won 61 games.
Who is this?
The Celtics.
Oh, okay.
Of Boston.
The Knicks are the 3 seed. And the Pacers are the 4 seed. The Bucks get the Pacers in round 1. They're the 5 seed. The Pistons.
Come on, baby.
Welcome back to the playoff Pistons. The last time we saw them was as an 8 seed with
Correct.
Blake Griffin.
Griffin, Andre Drummond, Reggie Jackson.
And Blake Griffin was hurt in that series.
Contavious Caldwell-Pope was on that team.
Playoff basketball is back. They're free of Monty Williams, and you see what that can do for them. The 7 seed is the Magic, and they'll play the Hawks in the play-in tournament for the honor of being the 7 seed. And then the loser gets the winner of Bulls Heat. The Bulls are the 9 seed, and the Heat are the 10 seed. So that's the layout of the tournament. I'll just go ahead and kick it to y'all. First round series that stands out to you the most, or that you're most excited for?
I'm really excited to see Knicks Pistons. I think that's going to be an electric series. Detroit, we've seen with hold on, I'm blocked by my big trophy that I won. How you like that, Mr. Anthony Rizzo? Boom, get doxxed. Not the baseball player for the New York Yankees, my friend. But yeah, Knicks Pistons is going to be great. We saw with the Detroit Lions and even the Detroit Tigers making the postseason. Detroit has spectacular fans, and this season they've really shown up for Pistons games, which is awesome to see. Little Caesars Arena is likely to be packed. Is the name of
It's pretty fire.
The Pistons Arena, Little Caesars Arena.
That's fire. I had Little Caesars for dinner yesterday.
Then you might want to pick the Pistons. Knicks are a much better matchup for the Pistons. I believe they're 3-1 in the series. Knicks in favor.
Yeah,
but that's going to be an electric series. I mean, playoffs in the Garden are always great. There's going to be great games, and then I think the Pistons are just going to have spectacular sellout crowds, and it's a really fun matchup too. Knicks have a lot of players that they play a lot of length, 3-and-D, grimy. They're all good defenders besides Brunson
and Cat.
And then the Pistons are not too different. Cade Cunningham is the star of that team. He's going to give you 30, 10, and 10. And then you have a lot of guys who are scrappy that get the job done. Malik Beasley has seen a re-rise in his career, leading the league in threes off the bench. And then you have Tim Hardaway Jr., who's played well for the Pistons this year. Jaden Ivey, Jalen Duren, Isaiah Stewart Beef Stew is likely to end up in a fight here. My prediction is going to be Mitchell Robinson and Isaiah Stewart getting a fight. That's the series I'm going to watch probably all 6 games because I think there's only going to be 6. I think I'm gonna watch all 6 of those games because that's gonna be an electric series, and I think it's the best series in the first round, in my opinion.
You stole mine, so I'm right there with you.
And mine, JP. I mean, come on.
I'm gonna just see. I mean, Pistons have never been there before, but Cade's really shown he can be that guy this season. And then the Knicks can score. They do have good individual defenders. They do not grade out as a good defending team as a whole, partially because when your point guard can't defend and your center can't defend,
those are 2 pretty important.
Yeah, you're missing a couple of anchors of your defense.
Yeah.
So I'm trying to think if I had to pivot to another one. There's quite a few good first round matchups, honestly.
I can steal yours and just talk about another one. No,
yeah, I got Nuggets Clippers as the one that I'm excited for.
Sure.
The Clippers have been playing well of late. Kawhi Leonard has kind of looked like Kawhi Leonard of old. Tiny sample size is still terrifying. I don't think I'll ever trust him to get through a full playoff healthy. So they've been coming on strong, and then the Nuggets have really scuffled. They fired their coach and their GM. It's really just Jokic. You know, got to hope you get big games from Jamal Murray. Zubats also is someone that has honestly had more success than most guarding Jokic, so that's an interesting matchup. But I kind of almost want to say I think the Clippers win this series, but then there's the guy that is Jokic who's just that dominant. So I think that'll be a great series to watch.
I think
and getting to see playoff basketball in the new Clippers arena with the wall
into it
should be a blast. Should be packed out.
I think it's gonna be a really interesting series. There's a lot of storylines in it. James Harden in the playoffs is bad.
True.
Is Kawhi Leonard gonna be healthy? Jamal Murray's coming off an injury. Nuggets firing their coach. Zubac for Jokic is a very underrated matchup. Zubac has played outstanding this year. That's gonna be a fun series, especially with the Intuit Dome. Kind of sad we didn't get Lakers Clippers first round, but I will take this. But I think the Thunder get a really good draw. Getting one of these 2 teams in the second round, I agree. I don't see how they lose to either of those teams. So I think the Thunder are in a great spot to make the conference finals.
You would kind of, I mean, that's kind of the goal or the hope when you get the 1 seed, is that your path becomes that simple. But it definitely is the case over there. Sanders, you have a series. I know you're not the biggest NBA guy.
So the Padres are 11-3 and lead the National League West, and that's all for me. Back to y'all.
Okay.
I'll pick another series then for him.
Perfect.
I think Rockets Warriors is going to be great when the Warriors beat the Grizzlies on Tuesday.
Did the recent regular season matchup scare you at all as a Warriors fan?
I'm actually pretty scared of the Rockets, just because they are elite defensively. But the playoffs is all about, it's about defense, but it's about getting buckets.
You gonna trust Fred VanVleet in a series?
Yeah. Well, no, Fred VanVleet was electric in the finals.
It's been a minute since that, though.
Yeah, that was.
We've seen ugly crunch time offense from the Rockets time and time again this year, and that matters so much in playoffs.
The playoffs, it's weird. Again, I'm blocked by this big trophy. My apologies. It's weird because the games just end up then becoming who can score more points, which is the point of the game.
Yeah, genius.
And it's crazy how it kind of just comes. In the regular season, it's about who can score more points, but it's just like who can score 135 or whatever. In the postseason, it's who can score more points in the moments where they matter.
Yeah.
And I'll be very interested to see if the Rockets can do that. I think if they're going to win 4 games against the Warriors, it's going to take 4 great defensive outings, and then they're going to need big shots from players that haven't been in moments like that before. Jalen Green, Şengün, Thompson. It's going to be interesting. I think it should favor the Warriors. The Warriors, I think, will be favoring that series, no doubt. But Rockets still have home court advantage.
Yeah, I do. The Rockets do. Ime Udoka is a great head coach in my opinion. Kind of the person you want leading the helm and kind of leading a team that doesn't necessarily have like clear rotations and clear I don't know, like a clear identity. a lot of times, and in the playoffs since he's not been there before. But he's someone I can really trust to figure that out. Hopefully, he doesn't get suspended for texting a coworker inappropriately again.
Everyone has allegations these days.
This is
let's
true.
Face it. So,
but yeah, that'll be a fun one to watch. Talking about scoring when it matters the most. Me and Sanders watched the last 3.5 minutes of.
Are you about to talk about the game we saw in person?
The game we saw in person.
Wait, the Grizzlies game? What are you talking about?
No. YouTube. The last 3.5 minutes of the Cavs Warriors game and the 3-1 comeback, and the Warriors didn't hit a shot in the last 3.5 minutes, and the Cavs only hit the one. It was the Kyrie 3. But just those moments really tied it up in the playoffs, and someone has to come through and hit a shot. It just kind of a lot of times feels like an entirely different game than the regular season. So that should be a very fun series to watch. I agree.
This is still the Grizzlies, right?
No, we weren't talking about the Grizzlies.
Yes, you were. You talked about them. You were literally just talking about them, were you not?
The Rockets.
Grizzlies versus. Oh no,
because we
you were
expect
assuming the Warriors beat the Grizzlies.
Yes,
That's
I
why
don't.
I'll go ahead and guarantee it right now.
I don't know. The Grizzlies are one of 2 teams I've seen in person.
And did they win that game?
They did not.
Yeah,
were they playing?
Did you pick the winner of the Masters correctly?
I did not.
Exactly.
I picked Bubba Watson. Where did he finish? That's not important.
He did not make the cut.
At one point, he was top 10, I believe. I feel.
No, he made the cut. He made the cut. I'm lying.
I was gonna say I thought he
made
had.
the cut. We saw one of his putts today.
Bang.
Do you have? We didn't really, since this is really just a first look, and like I said earlier, we just got the bracket. Do you have like a breakout player at the playoffs, or someone you think could even someone that's already been a star, but just kind of be a playoff riser, like we saw with a Luka run last year or something like that? Does anyone come to mind?
I really think we're gonna. The name SGA is going
That's
to
what I was
become a
gonna
name
say.
for everybody that watches the NBA. The Thunder and the Oklahoma City is going to be back on that stage.
They deserve it too. That's a good fan base.
For many years, that hasn't been the case, and the Thunder and Oklahoma City are a spectacular fan base, and that is a spectacular home court advantage, in my opinion. But yeah, I think SGA is really gonna make his name known. Everyone was like, "Oh, he foul baits all the time," but one, he shoots 8 free throw attempts per game. I think that's 70th in the NBA this season among players, and not that many people get all that many minutes. And this guy leads the league in scoring, scores 32 a game, and he gets it done in so many ways. He's so talented. He's just faster than everyone. He does it from the mid-range. He's a decent three-point shooter.
Ready.
Yeah, SGA, great scorer. I think he's going to be the breakout player in this NBA playoffs, in my opinion.
Did we want to preface that we acknowledge we just had another cutout?
I mean, we can.
We are now acknowledging that we have had another
It
cutout.
probably just would have been a little weird.
Yeah, I mean that's totally fine. I don't disagree.
Hold up.
Did you start it or no?
I did start it. Do we want to stop it?
No, we're fine.
All right, cool.
Bum,
Well,
bum.
The recording stopped as it typically does around the hour-and-a-half mark.
We
We
missed
didn't
it.
catch it immediately, so we are back. So if it was a little choppy there, now you know why.
that was a seamless transition. JP, great talk about Shea Gilgeous-Alexander.
Thank you. Yeah,
Nope.
NBA playoffs are going to be great. They start on Tuesday. The play-in starts on Tuesday. Skip the play-in games. Besides the Warriors-Grizzlies, watch the first half of it.
I would say in terms of the rating thing, it's you keep your eye on the scores, and if they're close late, you put them on because you could get some good basketball down the stretch. We've seen full crowds. We've seen good,
Fair.
atmospheres down the stretch in these games. We had the iconic moment of the Timberwolves celebrating like they just won the finals
That was an
when
electric game.
Patrick Beverly gets on the scorers tables, pounding his chest to the crowd
Mm-hmm.
as they locked in the set. Were they the 7?
7.
They locked in the 7 seed that year.
Bang.
Great moments. Yeah, I think we're kind of good there. We're gonna do a full dive on the Wednesday show.
Man, I can't wait.
Unless anyone has any other preliminary thoughts they want to give, I'm hyped.
What?
You, man. NBA. Sorry, again, I'm blocked by this massive trophy.
Yeah, the huge
apologize.
trophy, man.
That he won.
Yeah. No, the NBA playoffs are great. You're gonna love it.
I am. I just can't talk about them because I know absolutely nothing.
Well, you better get ready for
Yeah,
Wednesday's show.
bring your
I
stats in.
don't know that I could name more than a
Can you name the
25
starting lineup
of any
for the
team.
number one overall? Not the number one. The number one overall seed in the East, Cleveland Cavaliers.
They're the 1 seed. I thought
Yeah,
Boston
the 1 seed.
was.
No, Cavs have had a great season.
64-18.
I can give you Donovan Mitchell.
Hey, well, that's more than I expected you to know, to be honest.
Vandy Legend is their point guard.
Correct.
I don't know him. I don't know anyone besides Donovan Mitchell. I don't know that I can name.
No, he's not a. Oh yeah. You're.
I mean, I was
thought you
threw
were
it out
saying-
jokingly.
I thought you were saying Donovan Mitchell was the.
Oh no.
Sorry. Yes,
Their
yes,
point guard.
Vanderbilt legend is a point guard.
Oh, is it what's his face Junior?
Does he go by junior?
There's another guy. He's a son of a former NBA player.
It's not Scottie Pippen Jr.
Thank you. Okay.
He's a Grizzly.
Okay,
it
but
is
he is
not
a
him.
Vandy guy.
He is a Vandy
I knew
guy.
that.
Is he a legend?
I'm pretty sure this guy tore his ACL or something like that before the season even really started.
Man, this would be a fun
This
game.
year?
How many NBA
No,
players can I
no.
name?
I don't know.
Anyway,
don't
it's,
think
it's
I can-
Darius Garland Jr.
Okay.
We'll do that on Wednesday.
or just Darius Garland.
We'll say, all right, here's the team. Sanders, can you name? Unless
I think that's gonna be a
you're
fun.
do
I think
research.
that's gonna be a fun way to
If you're
to
gonna
kick
do
off
research,
every
doesn't count.
every team.
Yeah, I can't give you a breakdown, but I just have to name as many starters as I can. I don't know that I
Name
can
as many
name more
players
than
as you can.
25 players. I'm going to set the number at 27 and a half.
I think you could get higher.
I mean, feel free, go right now.
Yeah, we got time.
So much
Okay.
time.
Okay.
You said what's the number so I can remember?
27 and a half. I think I got
Okay.
more than that. I'm going to start on the Nuggets because I know a couple of them. Michael Porter Jr., Djokovic. No,
I'm not giving you Djokovic.
That's the
Jokic.
tennis player.
thank you. Jokic.
Yeah, I'll give you Jokic.
Jokic. It's the Joker. That's my default because I can't say his name right.
I would have accepted Joker as well.
Oh, well, yeah, Joker. And I know the other one, the one that hit he was clutch last season in the playoffs, but now all I can think of is Michael Porter Jr. All right, we're gonna move on from there to the Warriors.
It's not what he's most known for, but
That's what I remember him for because that's my first memory of him. What is
Fair.
his name? I don't know. Warriors, you got
Kentucky legend. I don't think that's gonna help you.
No,
No,
I think you're
yeah.
just. We can move on. You don't need him to get above
Steph Curry.
27.
I almost said Andre Iguodala, but he's retired. I don't say graduated. He's retired.
He's graduated from the NBA.
Draymond Green. Mississippi State legend Quentin Post.
Huge pool.
Okay, so now you say Witherspoon. I was like,
No, he was on. He was in their system for a while, but no,
Correct.
Mississippi State legend Quentin Post. From there, let's go to the Clippers. You got Kawhi is there. James Harden is there. On the Lakers, you got LeBron, Luka, Bronny. Does Bronny
Dang.
count?
Bronny
Yes.
does count. He started
counts.
today,
Yeah,
actually.
two-way contract. He counts. Not AD. No, don't say AD because I'm gonna come back to the Mavericks. Actually,
Okay.
don't say AD. Austin Reeves.
I was gonna say, I thought for
Austin
sure
Reeves.
you'd get
Yeah, I gotta
AR.
get Austin Reeves there.
11?
Yeah, he's at 11.
Yeah. Is that all the California teams?
No.
that's definitely not
Golden State, both Los Angeles teams.
the capital of California.
Sacramento Kings, right?
Yeah.
De'Aaron Fox. No, he's not there anymore.
But, I mean, that is a
Kristaps
player.
Porzingis, is he there?
He is a player. He is not there.
Was he ever there?
No.
Oh no. Domantas Sabonis.
Sabonis.
That's
yeah.
Yeah. Okay, I got Sabonis. Don't count those other players that I said until I get to their team because that's how I'm
Okay,
keeping
then you're
track.
at 12.
Okay. That's all the California teams. So let's move east to Utah.
Okay.
You got the Utah Jazz.
Can you name a Jazz player?
No.
Okay.
I cannot name a Jazz player. Let's move further east. Man, this is hard because now I have to name the teams and the players. Let's just go to Texas. Let's go to
Okay.
Texas. We got the Dallas Mavericks. They have Klay Thompson,
Mm-hmm.
Anthony Davis.
Yep.
Derek Mosley.
Not ringing a bell.
Not an NBA player.
Who is that? Is he a linebacker? Maybe he's a linebacker in the NFL.
I have never
Who's
heard that.
No, I swear I'm not.
I'm gonna look up, see if there's a famous Derek Mosley.
Watch him be a.
I feel like he's an NFL
Dallas
draft prospect.
Maverick.
No, I feel like he's an NFL draft prospect.
No, he's just committed a lot of crimes.
He's a Alabama A&M Bulldog
He is
guard/forward.
Yes.
Wait, why? Derek something. I don't know.
We can get back on track. Get back on track here.
Dallas Mavericks. I'm done with Dallas
Okay.
Mavericks. I can't do anything.
You're at 14.
I thought I had this. I'm not gonna lie. Now I'm scared.
I think if you just went and named all the stars in the league, you could get there.
Maybe I'm making this harder on myself.
Yeah.
You're halfway there.
You're making it take longer, at least.
Yeah.
If not, maybe it's not harder.
But I'm trying to be sure I don't miss anyone.
Sure.
I mean, I guess let's just full send it, and I can just start rattling them off. That's scary.
Do it.
All right, Zach Edey, Jaren Jackson Jr., Jason Tatum. Now we'll say Kristaps Porzingis because I
Mhm.
know he's actually
Yep.
someone. Donovan Mitchell, Shea Gilgeous-Alexander, LaMelo Ball, Brandon Miller, John Morant.
23.
23. I can come up with 4 more.
5 more.
Oh,
technically.
okay. Anthony Davis, because I didn't say him earlier.
did say
Oh,
him,
I
'cause
said
we
him
went to
because I
the
did the
Mavs.
Mavericks. Okay. Is the other ball the other ball that was at the Pelicans? Is he still in the NBA?
He is, if you can give me his first name.
It's LiAngelo or it was LaMelo, LiAngelo, and Lamar.
No.
LeVar was.
LeVar's the dad.
I thought it was, and then it was LeVar. I thought he was.
No. Do I give him ball? He knows there's a
No.
No.
Okay.
LiAngelo, LaMelo, and does it start? No, I'm not gonna get it. We're moving on. I can't even think of any other. Hawks, Trae Young.
Yep.
Mm-hmm.
Oh, I'm gonna start pulling on my fantasy basketball knowledge. We got Chris Paul. He was on my team last year.
25.
I only need 3 more. Oh, I've got this locked in. Chris Paul. Who else did I have on my team last year that I haven't said? Giannis Antetokounmpo.
You're gonna have to say his last name right.
Was it close? Giannis Antetokounmpo. Is that not right?
Antetokounmpo.
You can just. Hold on.
So we're not counting.
No, I'm counting. I'm counting.
Yeah, you need 2 more.
Giannis.
Antetokounmpo.
2 more. Oh, man. Okay. Cade Cunningham, not
Yep.
Wade Cunningham, as Stephen A. Smith calls him.
Correct. 1 more. Bring it home.
Man, Derek Lively.
Yeah,
May-
crazy last one
That's
to get.
because
but
was he involved in the Luka trade?
he was not.
No.
Max Christie is the other piece.
Was he the one that the Lakers were gonna get the center? Who was the
Mark
center?
Williams was the center the
Dalton
Lakers were going to
Knecht.
get from
Who
the
is
Celtics.
Derek Lively?
He's a Mavs center.
Okay, that's why I know the name.
Yeah, but he was not in the trade.
Not Derek.
No,
Mosley.
but he I remember I basically learned about him at the same time
Yeah.
because they brought in AD. That's who I was trying to say when I said Derek Mosley.
Gotcha. Derek Lively.
Yeah,
And I don't know.
Not Mosley.
Yeah.
Huge news for Joel Osteen's disciples. And the least cared about fantasy league of all time. We have brought home the championship.
Literally.
1,703.75 to 1,700.5.
Nice.
Big win.
Who'd you beat?
Tanking for Bronny.
I don't. Oh, I think I know who that is. Okay. Is that AM or?
It is,
okay,
yes. Cool. So Sanders, real ball knower.
I mean, that was a good line because I was struggling.
I was waiting for you to pull like an Anthony Edwards out.
Oh yeah, that's true.
Kyrie
or a
Irving.
Karl Anthony Towns or
Yeah.
Rudy Gobert.
But
I didn't even say Victor Wembanyama.
yeah,
Dang.
not say Victor, which is tough.
I could have gotten to 30 or 35 maybe.
It just,
It was hard.
would have taken up
It
some
was
time.
hard.
But good stuff.
Woo!
I think that's all we have.
Thank goodness, because we have another show to record.
No, I would like to talk about UFC 314.
Oh god.
Okay.
Josh.
We did get.
Do you want to talk about Patty the Batty?
Patty the Batty.
JB saw me at church this morning, and I was like, "Oh yeah, I'm about to go record a podcast." He said, "Can we get some UFC content?" I said, "JP will definitely drop
Okay,
it."
well then I'll give some UFC content.
Bury it in the bottom of the show.
Because this is the part of the show he's definitely listening.
Yeah, UFC 314. I really enjoyed it. very electric. Patty the Batty Pimplett. I played his entrance to the show like 3 times this afternoon since I've gotten here. Man, that guy is a superstar. It reminds me a ton of Sugar Show with Sean O'Malley, but it's different because Sugar Show, it seems like the division is so much harder in the lightweight than it is for Sugar Show and bantamweight. And
what is Sugar? Is that a song? Is that a person?
It's a person.
It's Sean O'Malley, Sugar Show, the former bantamweight champion.
Cool.
Of the Ultimate Fighting Championship, UFC. Patty the Batty, it's a very similar rise in that case where we've seen him on some pay-per-views. He's kind of, he becomes a name because he's different compared to all the fighters.
Bit of a goofball, maybe.
Yeah, Sugar Show has always had the colorful hair. Patty the Batty has had this bowl cut. He has this crazy English accent.
Housing pizza after the fights.
What they gonna say now, which is a terrible way of.
Now you killed it.
Yeah, that was not even close to it.
I'm cutting that out.
Yeah, go ahead and cut that out. Sorry, but
I think we're gonna make that we need that on the sound pad.
British
We need that on the soundboard now.
I had a really good. I had a really
now?
good one earlier.
Swing and a miss. It happens.
So I'm gonna test. But no, it's really cool to watch him because he's different in that case where this guy he dominates and he wins in so many different aspects of the fight. Last night against Michael Chandler. Michael Chandler has been a big name in the division, although he's only fought a few times in the UFC. Chandler is a guy with a tremendous motor. And he's like a lot of those fighters there in the lightweight where they're just fireworks. Man, they can really fight, and they're not scared to get hit, and they're going to keep coming at you, and they're going to keep throwing, they're going to keep landing. And Chandler was just destroyed by Patty last night. It was truly tremendous. And for a guy to beat someone in the lightweight division, in my opinion, the hardest division in the entire sport, and one of the hardest divisions in sport in general, that was a tremendous showing for him. I'm very curious to see where he'll go next. He has challenged Justin Gaethje, Dustin Poirier, Arman, who he made fun of, and there was one other fighter I forgot that the name of. But it's going to be interesting to see if he can get all the way to the championship because the champion, Islam Makhachev, is just he's a Dagestani. They have been just notoriously dominant. They don't lose a lot of fights. Khabib was really, really great in that division. Now Islam has just kind of taken those reins and continued to destroy fighters in that division. So I'm very interested to see where he'll go next and if he can get there because, the fan base really wants to watch him. This guy's electric. He's hilarious. He's just a crowd favorite. And
he's hooked.
His interest is great. So, Patty was great, and he landed some big shots. The knee he landed on Michael Chandler to cut his face open was crazy. I don't think I've ever seen, at least a recency bias in this, but I haven't seen a cut like that start bleeding so profusely so quickly. That was just a devastating strike to Michael Chandler. And then in the championship match, we saw Alexander Volkanovski of old. Diego Lopez has been a fighter we've seen a few times, and we've really built up this hype. It was kind of interesting with the crowd. I really expected him to be a crowd favorite in that fight, but the fan base, or the fans there in Miami, were clearly behind Volk. And Diego looked timid. It looked like he was saving himself a ton because he knew this was his first ever 5-round fight. And you could tell that this was a guy that he was trying to take it easy. And then once it's annoying because when you sit there and you watch the UFC and you watch these fights, you're like, dude, when are you going to put your foot on the gas pedal and just try to go punch this guy? And it seems like way too many times these guys wait too late to do that. And Diego Lopez did that again. He waits until the 4th round to really start landing some shots on Volk. In a matchup where he's got the height advantage, he's got the reach advantage, And I'd argue that people would expect this guy to really dominate Volk, especially when the last two fights we'd seen from Volkanovski were by knockout, where he loses to knockout to Makachev and lost to knockout to Poria. It was very, very surprising to see that. But Volk's back as the champion, rightfully so. He fought really, really well last night against a good fighter in Diego Lopez. I'm interested to see where he will defend and who he'll defend against next. And, but Diego Lopez is going to get another chance at the title. It's the unfortunate thing about the UFC is because you fight maybe twice, at best you fight 3 times a year. A lot of time you fight twice and even sometimes just once a year. You really only get maybe one, and if you're lucky, you get 2 shots at the title. And you have to take advantage of those opportunities, and Diego did not take advantage of that last night.
Brutal.
So he may get one other chance another time. We'll see. He's got to win his next fight to get that chance again. I don't think we're going to get a rematch because that fight was not close at all. Yeah. It was I really enjoyed the pay-per-view. The Miami crowd was really weird. They weren't very energized. They weren't really cheering in moments that I expected them to do so. But it was a big crowd. I mean, the president was there. Elon Musk was there. A lot of the cabinet was there. The Secretary of Defense was there. FBI director was there. And then a lot of, it was really weird. I didn't know that was the case or going to be until I turned it on and they were all there, and then they start showing them all on screen. Shaquille O'Neal was there.
That makes a little more sense.
Big part of U.S. government. And then Amanda Nunes gets inducted into the Hall of Fame. And then she announced while she was watching it that she's coming back. So that's really, really cool. Amanda Nunes, if you don't know, is the GOAT of female UFC fighting.
Yeah, I did not know that.
She's only lost a couple times, and she's so dominant. It's insane. Watching her fight, she just destroys everyone, and she's really done that for a long time. Double champ in the 2 divisions that there are in women's fighting. So she's coming back, and we'll be interested to see which division she'll fight in. I assume she'll fight in the heavier of the 2. But it should be really cool to see. It's going to be an interesting Amanda Nunes. This is Amanda Nunes now with a child coming off of retirement. It'll be the first time we see a fighter that's being inducted into the UFC Hall of Fame, which there aren't a ton because UFC hasn't been around for a long time. That's going to be actively fighting while being inducted to the UFC Hall of Fame.
Yeah, that makes tons of sense. But
it's kind of crazy. Yeah, you wouldn't expect that in any other sport.
Yeah.
So that'll be very interesting. Like Tom Brady didn't get inducted into the Hall of Fame until his career's over. So now Nunes comes back. That'll be interesting to see. So there's your UFC, my thoughts at least on the UFC. Mr. JB.
Good stuff.
Jack, you got any in-depth analysis on that?
No, I mean, as a casual, the most casual Patty the Batty's a ton of fun. So I hope he continues to win.
Yeah.
He's just a good time.
I wish I could claim the title casual.
I
haven't watched any of it, so I don't think that's even casual.
And we really needed a good card there because the next card is going to be a snooze fest with Bilal Muhammad and Jack Della Maddalena. It's, oh my gosh. And then there's 2 women fights on there, which women fights they can be good, but sometimes they can be really, really boring. And those are the 3 best fights is Bilal Muhammad, one of the most boring champions in the world.
Yeah.
And then Shevchenko is good, but 2 women fights. We really needed a good card here before that card, 315 that comes up here in a month in May. Before we get to 316, where we'll get to see the Sugar Show get his rematch against Merab Davasheli for the bantamweight title. Their first matchup since the Sphere.
I just realized we were worried about content for this show, and we are approaching 2 hours.
We can yap with the best of them.
This is very true.
I do think this is a good place to stop the show.
I 100% agree, given that we have another 2-hour podcast ahead of us, and it is almost
It'll be 1 hour.
Yeah, we cranked this out.
Yeah.
Thanks for listening. We'll see you next time. Peace.
See ya.